Welcome to another episode of First Down by CoachTools. I have Fran Walsh here. I think you're really going to enjoy the episode. So Fran, he graduated from Villanova University and was the Maxwell Football Club Jim Henry Award winner when he was in high school. So Fran, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, man. Excited to be here. We just recently got affiliated, but through the Maxwell Club, but I'm excited for all the good things you're doing in the football world, starting your own business, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to be here. Always like to connect with other entrepreneurs. So thanks for having me on, man.
Yes, sir. Of course. So Fran, I'd like to start things off by asking you to share about how you kind of got started in your entrepreneurial venture at Opulus.
Yeah. So I'll backtrack a little bit. So I studied finance at Villanova University. Always thought that I had wanted to get into something in the financial world. Like many younger individuals, you never really know what you want to do. You just have an idea about, things you're good at. Math. When I was a kid, I was always good at math, wasn't great at, other subjects. So I always thought, okay, well, I guess like finance, numbers, I always liked things having to do with money. And I was always like trying to work hard as a kid. So I always felt like that was something that I felt, connected to. So I get through Villanova, graduate there with my, finance and business degree. I went and worked for a company called Susquehanna International Group, which was a, quant trading firm right over in Ballard-Kenwood. It's actually right down the street from where I live today. So I had a great experience over there. I was there for really only 9 months, I believe. I was on a domestic ETF trading team there. Pretty much learned everything I wanted to learn, but I quickly realized that I was not meant for, to be a trader, to be someone who just kind of sat behind a desk and looked at numbers all day. I liked what I did. I just didn't like that there was really no personal interaction. It was a very difficult lifestyle. So I actually reached out to a guy who I had formerly met named Ryan Greiser, who actually also won a Jim Henry Award through the Maxwell Football Club. He was a great player at Penn Ridge, went on to play at Liberty, and he had a short stint in the pros for a bit, but he was a great safety. So I reached out to Ryan. I say to him, hey, man, like I'm looking to get into the finance world. I know you do, something in this world. Would you be able to kind of help me either connect with some people or get me a job? And he actually ended up, getting me a gig in a internship with his firm over a summer. After that, it ended up turning into a full-time offer. We kind of started working together for about, 3.5 years. And, at a certain point, we kind of figured out that we were starting to do pretty well for ourselves. We were starting to build a really good client base, and we had a good process and system for how we were doing things, and we were starting to kind of plan our escape because we figured out quickly that, hey, we can do this on our own. We can do things how we wanted, and we were not traditional suits per se. You know what I mean? Like I'm wearing a t-shirt and a hat right now. This is what we wear to the office every day, right? We're not the kind of guys that wear a three-piece suit and they want to walk in and, impress you and be the big dog, all that kind of stuff. We're like, listen, man, all of the people that we work with are just normal, hardworking people. We don't like that persona of the financial world. We're just normal guys at the end of the day. So after about 3.5 years, we came up with the idea of Opulus. We got all this stuff rolling. And, here we are 3.5 years later. We launched in May of 2019. So yeah, we're just about 3.5 at this point, and it's been a great run. Things have just been constantly growing. Very blessed to where we've been. We've had a lot of great clients, a lot of people who have really supported us along the way. So, thankful for where we are today.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And just one of the things you said earlier, what kind of gave you that confidence to transition to going towards your own firm?
So yeah, it's funny, man. You never have a real confidence, as I'm sure you know. When you're starting your own thing, I think one of the big things that we try to stress to people is we have a lot of clients, who've been working in the corporate world for, maybe 10, 15 years, and they want to end up starting to go do their own thing. They're trying to figure out what's the best way for me to do this. Oh, the timing's not right. I don't know if I have, the accurate money. I don't know if I have the right niche. There's all these different kinds of things, right? The number one thing I could always say to people is like, you're never going to feel great if you're trying to start a business, right? There's always going to be an excuse you could come up with that to say it's not the right time or, just a few more months. You just kind of got to throw yourself in the fire and you're going to figure it out because look, we're 3.5 years in. There's still little problems that come up that, we might not have ever thought of that could be an issue, 3.5 years ago. So if you're trying to make things perfect beforehand, you're never going to feel good about it. You just got to have, basically an idea of, okay, is this something that we can be successful in? Do we have a group of people who support us and believe in us? And basically at the end of the day, are we gonna work hard enough to make sure that we are successful? Is failure an option? And hopefully the answer is no. If failure is not an option, you're going to constantly be pushing and pushing that line to keep moving forward to make sure that you're successful at the end of the day, no matter what. And then at that point, if you're willing and driven to succeed at all costs, it doesn't matter. If you're necessarily ready right from the get-go, right? Because you're not going to let yourself fail. And that was kind of our mindset, was that, hey, no matter what, we're not going to fail. And when we got started, it was brutal. We opened, like I said, we launched our company in May of 2019. For people who are familiar with, financial markets, COVID started right in February. Market absolutely crashed in March. So right off the bat, our company, the small bit of revenue we had was down like 40% within 6 months of the company. And I just remember thinking like, holy shit, are we gonna survive this? Are we gonna make it? And Ryan was a great mentor throughout that whole process of like, it's going to be okay. Just keep on pushing, and you just get through things. And then it's just a process where you just got to have a mindset that we're going to get through it at all costs. Just keep on working, and we came out better on the other side. And fortunately, we're still kicking and growing today.
So what do you think from your playing career gave you that resiliency to go through COVID and go through just those hard times and like you said, 2020 and 21?
Yeah, sure. So, I think it's strange. I think athletics at all levels, whether it's high school, college, pros, I think there's just something that's instilled in kids about, hopefully depending on what level people played at or what kind of mentors and coaches they had. But one of the things that I always had, through Archbishop Wood, through Villanova, was just, constantly like just hard work was just stressed so much, especially, and even before that, right? With my parents growing up, right? Like I always like to tell a story that, when we would come home from school as kids, like, my parents, my dad, we would be, immediately we'd have like 45 minutes of schoolwork before we were allowed to go outside. We were forced to play sports. You were going to play a sport. You were going to play an instrument. Like you were going to be successful and you were going to work hard at things. And whether you wanted to do it forever, I mean, that was like something that was, up to us at a later point. But when we were kids, we were getting signed up for sports. We were getting signed up for music. Like they were pushing us to really, try to figure out, okay, like where can we be successful, but we're going to work hard to figure that out. Even with things like schoolwork. I remember my dad, like if we would have a test on something on like a Thursday, right? It'd be Wednesday night. My dad would be writing up tests for us, like math tests at night. And like hard work was just something that was really instilled in us. And then even like throughout Wood, we had a guy on my podcast last week called, and his name was Mike Carey. And he's like a legendary coach, Coach CB West back in the day. He's probably won, I don't know, maybe 10 state championships in his life, probably more, to be honest. I don't even know how many it's been, but he coached us at Wood. And just one of the things he constantly preached was you are never working hard enough. And, that was just something from the olden days. I think a lot of people today, a lot of people think they work hard today but I think society as a whole has just gotten much, weaker than it used to be, 30, 40 years ago. So I think people's perception today of hard work is much, different than it was when our parents or grandparents, were around. So I think kids today are at such an extreme advantage that, if you are resilient, if you do constantly work, if you don't accept, failure as an option, like you are going to be such a better position than other people your age, just because there's a lot of kids today that aren't resilient. There's a lot of kids who haven't been through hard times. You see things today like kids, whatever, they don't get the job they want, or they don't get the exact salary they want in their first job, and kids go to social media and they start complaining, or you see how the media reacts to stuff today where they're like, oh, I don't know, they just treat things much differently than they should. They're like, oh, I can't believe these people are getting fired. Well, it's like, well, those people probably don't work that hard if you're getting fired. You know what I mean? If you're really working and pushing 24/7, like you're just going to keep advancing in life. And I think I was very fortunate at a young age that I had a lot of really good mentors who, didn't take life easy on me. They really pushed me. They really, emphasized that, like you are going to work and we're going to teach you that the only option you have is you're not super big. You're not super smart. Your only option in life is that you're going to be a guy who's just going to out hustle people. And once I realized that I was like, it's not like obviously I was a decent football player, right? I did very well in school, but that was just because I worked hard. I wasn't a genius. I'm 6 foot. I'm not super tall. You know what I mean? Like my only
Right.
option was I just got to outwork people. So that was just something that was just engraved in me at a young age. And it's just something that I still have today. You just got to have that like dog in you that just wants to be better than people.
Yeah. And I think that's the perfect parallel. Like just keep pushing between
Yeah.
sports and life and business. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. So just one of the things going off of that, what advice would you give to a high school kid or a college kid that's looking to succeed or just looking for any type of information post graduation, if that makes sense?
Um, so, I mean, number one piece of advice I would give younger kids: be the best version of yourself, right? In all things. I always say my biggest fear in life, my only fear is that one day I die, I go to whatever afterlife there is, I meet someone that says, okay, here's all the things you could have been in life if you did more, right? I want to be the best possible version of myself in all different aspects, whether that's one day being a good father, being a good, business owner. I wanted to be the best athlete I could be. I still want to be, I want to be the best possible version of myself in all different areas. And that's my number one piece of advice to everyone. Just try to be in any aspect that you're going down, whether, it doesn't have to be sports, but it could be, it could be school, be the best student you could be the best son or, brother you could be. Just constantly think about, okay, am I doing everything that I can in my power to be the best version of myself? And 99% of the time, you're not, right? No matter how hard you think you're working, no matter how much you think you're doing in whatever that area is that, we're talking about, there's always something else you could be doing more, right? There's days where I feel like, gosh, I worked my ass off today. And then you know what? It's like, okay, you look back on a couple things, you're like, you know what? There's probably a little more I could have done. So just get the most out of yourself, out of your body, out of your mind, to constantly try to be pushing yourself to be that best version. Because the last thing you want to do is look back one day and be like, damn, I just wish I did a little more here. Or if I did a little more here, would I be more successful? Or if, um, you could apply it to so many different aspects of life. But I just think just trying to maximize your ability in life is the number one piece of advice I could give anyone at any stage.
Okay. So, and this is just something I've gotten from talking with you in the past 10 minutes, but can you talk about the importance of surrounding yourself with good people? Like, I know that you obviously surrounded yourself with Ryan, your business partner now. And
Yeah.
yeah, so we'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, I think, there's that very common phrase out there that you're the average of the five most people you affiliate yourself with, right? And I think that's a good way to think about it, right? You want to surround your immediate self with really good people. Basically, the way I always look at it nowadays is the way I want to surround myself is with people that I want to be like, right? So every time I think it just goes even deeper than that, right? You're kind of the sum of all of the people you've interacted with or you felt are important to your life from this point, right? So you probably have a couple mentors in your mind, you probably have your parents in mind, a couple of your siblings, a bunch of your buddies, right? Where if you took kind of like a little piece of each of them, that's probably the cultivation and the sum of them probably equals you, right? Because what do we do often? I think I always say this to people is like, when you watch like a movie, like, or you watch like a Braveheart or something like that, right? You take like a little piece of inspiration from that and you're like, how can I apply that to my life? Or at least that's what I try to do, right? Or you watch like the Peaky
Right.
Blinders or something like that, where you're like, God, like I got to be better in this aspect. But I think that's just like the importance of surrounding yourself with people that you want to be like, right? You want to surround yourself with people that are successful, people that work hard, people that are kind, people that do the right thing all the time. Because the more you're around people like that, you know, either A, you're going to learn that, okay, some of these people do things better than me. What are they doing that I'm not doing? And then two, if there are people that are close to you and you're being surrounded, like you're surrounding yourself with them, they're going to be willing to help you, right? If you're starting a business and a bunch of your buddies are, successful business owners, like, yo, dude, what do you do here? Like, what other things can I be doing to improve here? Like, and they're going to help you. So just on the flip side, you surround yourself with a lot of people who, they go out and drink every night. They don't really care about growing in their career. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but like, it just depends on what kind of person you want to be. So whatever person you want to be, what kind of person you want to be at the end of the day, you got to surround yourself with people like that dream version of yourself. Because, at the end of the day, that's the only way it's going to push you forward. If you're surrounding yourself with people that aren't like your future version of yourself, you're never going to get there, right? Because it's not something that you're able to do on your own. Everyone needs help. You even look at a guy like, Elon Musk, right? He looks like he's Mr. World Superstar, where, he owns all these super innovative, world changing companies, but he would probably be the first to tell you, I've been very fortunate. I've been surrounded by some of the smartest, brightest people in the world who have helped me get to where I've gotten to. There's no one who can do things alone. Whether you look at, a guy like Elon, you look at, whoever the president of the United States is at the time, everyone has a great system around them that helps them succeed. And it goes all the way down to just normal people. The most successful people in your community are probably people who have great support systems around them and people that are helping them constantly. And on the flip side, people who are probably really struggling in that same effect probably don't have great support systems, great friends, great family, people around them that are constantly trying to do the right things. So, like you said, it's so important to, surround yourself with positive, like-minded people, that are going to challenge you and help you get to that, best version of yourself.
Yeah. And I can totally relate to that. Just the importance of support systems and just surrounding yourself with the right kind of people to push yourself and, like you said, become like the summation of all of those people. So
Yep.
Thanks for sharing that, Fran. And any last thoughts that you want to bring up right now?
No last thoughts really. Like I said, I've kind of been harping on it a bit today, but I just think there's no substitute for, hustle in life. The reality is you're not, in the grand scheme of the world, you're probably not that smart, right? You're not some super athlete anymore, right? There's only 1% of 1% of 1% guys that'll be a professional athlete and make a lot of money from that. Most people aren't extremely good at, sales, or they don't come from super wealthy families, and they'll just be able to kind of chill in life. So the only thing you have control over in life is how hard you're willing to push yourself and, make yourself, get to an ability where, you are successful. So my motto in life has always been outwork, out hustle everyone. And, you're going to make it in the end. It's not always going to be easy, but that's the only thing that you have control over in life, is how hard am I pushing myself to get to my goals. So that's kind of the only lasting piece I'd leave with people is, hey, control the things you could control, which isn't a ton. But if, like I've been saying, if you're able to maximize your ability and, take advantage of all the gifts you have and really push yourself to be the best possible version of yourself, at the end of the day, you're going to have no regrets, and you're going to be able to look back at yourself and say, I did everything I could possibly do to put myself in the best position to succeed. And then, like I said, that coincides with whether it's, at work, if you're just trying to be fit, if you're trying to just be a good father, son, husband, whatever that may be. Just do things every day to constantly improve and get yourself better.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing, Fran. And thank you for listening to another episode of First Down by CoachTools.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, man.
Thanks.